Okay, what's up, everybody? Welcome. Oh, hold on. Later. Stop. Go away. Okay. All right. Hopefully this records because I just got a weird notification. If it doesn't record, then it's okay, and the people that are meant to be here will be here. See, Judy says it looks extremely smart. Adele thinks it looks extremely stupid. See, perspective is everything. Perspective is everything, right? And yeah. Anyway, for those of you that are watching the recording, we're talking about how Adele Schmidt thinks that I should shave my beard and that I look stupid. That's basically what you said. And Judy and some of the other people say I look smart. But no matter what matters most is how I feel, and how I feel is lazy about shaving my beard. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. Yeah. No, it is. But Donna, it is because okay, this is so irrelevant. People are watching the recording be like, what are they talking about right now? Why am I even on this thing right now? So let's just get into it. Okay, so there's a lot happening right now. How many of you feel, just type in the chat box, how many feel like you're breathing a little bit more, right? Like how many of you feel like you're breathing a little bit more? Okay, I know you didn't use the word stupid. That's fine. That's fine. I'll forgive you. I'll forgive you. Okay? I'll forgive you. Because I love you, I'll forgive you. But yeah, how many of you are starting to just breathe a little bit more, right? Just getting a little bit more grounded, kind of in a place of acceptance that, okay, this is just what is right now. I can't control when the government says it's okay for me to do whatever I want to do, right? I'm just kind of adjusting to this time. And we're seeing that, right? We're seeing that from a growth perspective with so many of you and so many of the guys here in the States and in Australia. You know, it's the adjustment seems like we're all settling in, which is nice. You know, the thing that's important to remember is that, you know, how we use this time can make a huge difference in where we are, you know, from a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. You know, the thing I'd recommend doing is how many of you guys have team members who have kind of maybe taken a little bit of a step back, right? Because there was some shock, there was some, I don't know what to do, I can't really breathe, I don't know how to move, right? I don't know where to go, okay? How many of you guys have had some of that? Yeah, of course, we all have. And a lot of people have been asking me, you know, what do I do? How do I handle that? And the truth is, there's nothing for you to do. There's nothing for you to do. There's who can you be? So you can be loving and you can create a space for them and you can help them to remember what they're capable of, but you don't need to drag them like ever. Just hold space. Just let them know that you're here, and whenever they're ready to come back, if they ever come back, that's okay. You know, what's really interesting about times of crisis is that in times of crisis, you're going to find two types of people. You're going to find the people who decide to grow up or the people who decide to give up. It's just very simple. In times of crisis, two kinds of people. There are people who grow up and there are people who give up. Now, growing up doesn't mean growing at a certain speed. It doesn't mean going all out on the business. It just means that they're at least committed to taking small progressive steps every single day. And maybe you might find yourself in that position where you're saying, hey, look, I'm here. I'm not ready to give up. I don't want to give up, but I'm going to grow up. But I'm going to grow up just putting one foot in front of the other. I'm not going to grow up fast. I'm just going to grow up at my own pace. And I want you guys to know that that's 100% okay. How many of you are okay with that? How many of that feels good for you? If you find yourself in the category of going, okay, look, all of it's all crazy right now. I'm just trying to find a way to keep my car on the road. I'm trying to find a way, or for those of you in the Netherlands and Belgium, you're just finding a way to keep pedaling on the bike, right? It's a little bit rocky, a little bit off balance, a lot of traffic, a lot of tourists, right? Those annoying tourists, and they're in the way. And I'm just trying to find a way to keep putting the pedals, to keep going, to keep riding, right? And some of you are going very fast through the traffic, and that's okay too, right? So wherever you are, it's okay. But more importantly, remember, guys, we talk a lot about this being a family, and we don't take that lightly. We don't take that lightly. And so for the team members of yours that are stuck, that feel paralyzed, that are really in it right now, just hold space for them like family. Now, that doesn't mean that it's your job to rescue them. It's not your job to rescue them. But it is your job to hold space for them and be okay with the reality that they may not fill that space. They might not come along for the ride. And that's one of the painful realities of what we do. And is it okay if I'm honest with you? I know it's okay if I'm honest with you, but these are the realities of the business. I've been doing this a long time. I've had some very difficult conversations the last couple of days of people who are choosing to give up. I feel for them, but I can't focus on them, because if I focus too much on them, put in the chat box, who am I not focusing on? So if I'm too focused on the people who are ready to give up, who am I not focused on? Type in the chat box. Right. The ones who want to grow up. That's right. The willing. The ones who want to grow. Two types of people in a season of crisis: those who grow up and those who give up. Obviously, you're on this call or you're watching the recording. That means you're committed to growing up. And I just want you to know that I honor you and I acknowledge you for that. Just keep it moving. You hear us talk about that so often. Just find a way to keep it moving. One of the biggest reasons that you see people that are in shock right now and they're not moving, do you know why? You guys want to know the biggest reason? Is because they weren't moving coming into it. And they tried to go from a dead stop to movement. And it's really hard to go from a dead stop to movement, right? Movement requires momentum. It's the gradual accumulation of momentum and energy, right? Which is why it's so important that all of you that are on this call, all of you are watching the recording, you've got to find a way to move your business forward in some day. Now, there's incredible things that are happening right now from a leadership perspective. So many of the leaders in this organization have stepped up, right, to create environments and systems to allow all of you that maybe are a little bit newer or you're just finding your way along, which is great. There are so many things that you guys can plug into. My number one piece of advice right now is, no matter what happens, stay plugged in. Stay plugged into the energy of the people who are moving. Now, here's the thing. You're going to see there are people right now that are moving very fast. It doesn't matter if they're moving fast. Just because they're moving fast doesn't mean you can't stay connected to their energy. So don't for a second think, oh, well, they're rank advancing. They're enrolling all these people, blah, 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 blah. Feed off of that energy. Absorb that energy. Look to that energy. Because you have two choices. You can either look at the energy of the people that are growing up, or you can get stuck on the people's energy who are giving up. And right now on social media, you see a lot of people giving up, right? The world is ending. The government rules my life. It's all a conspiracy, blah, blah. And who knows who's right? Who knows who's right? We have no idea who's right, who's wrong. Doesn't matter. The question is, where are you focused? What are you giving your attention to? What are you allowing yourself to be hooked by? See, we can either get hooked by positive things or we can get hooked by negative things. But what happens when you get hooked by a negative thing? What happens? What do you create? When you get hooked by something negative, what do you create? More negative. It's very simple. If I hook into something negative, I get more negative. Low vibes. How many of you have ever had the experience where you wake up in the morning and maybe you knock your coffee over, you knock your tea over, and you go, it's going to be a terrible day. It's going to be a terrible day. And then what happens? You knock your coffee over, and as you're complaining that's going to be a terrible day, you hit your knee on the bed. I knew it was going to be a terrible day. And then you're limping around your house and you're cleaning up the coffee, and you gotta find something and you can't find it, right? And I never can find what I'm looking for, and I knew it because it's gonna be a horrible day, right? And then your partner comes in and all they say is good morning, and you say it's not a good morning, it's a horrible day. And now you're fighting with your partner. Of course you're fighting with your partner. Why? Because it's a horrible day. And then the kid comes in and the kid says something and the kid pisses you off. And oh, of course, this is the one day where the kid has to be acting up. Can't the kid give me a break today? And then somebody on your team quits or they return their products. Of course they did that today. It's a horrible day. But was it really a horrible day, or did you just spill some coffee? Was it a horrible day, or did you just spill some coffee? Now the British are like, this would never happen. This would never happen. This is the worst story he's ever used. This would never happen because the British would never do something as disgusting as start their day with coffee. That's why I said tea, Steve Hewitt. That's why I said tea. But ultimately, what happens is we attach to an experience, we give that experience meaning, and then our unconscious mind becomes like a missile, and it looks to hit the target. And so if you created a negative route of a target, the missile is going to find more negative targets. But if you spill the coffee and you stop and go, okay, well, that's annoying. And that's annoying. And am I going to allow it to upset me? I can or I can't. A customer returns their products. I can or I can't. So the difference that you have in this opportunity right now, because the world has slowed down quite a bit. The world has almost come to a halt in an amazing way. So the opportunity that we have now is to slow down and to recognize, am I being reactive right now, or am I being responsive right now? Am I responding from fear, or am I acting from love? And that's all there ever is, just so you know. Two base emotions, fear, love. Is what I'm about to do coming from fear, or is it coming from love? What do you think is going to create more results, love or fear? Love, all the time. But let me give you a scenario. Customer returns their products, right? Associate quits. Oh, I put in so much time with them. I helped them so much, blah, 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 blah. I can't believe they would do this. Is that love or fear? Is that love or fear? It's fear. So now this person has left your organization. Okay, it happens. But you're focused on that space with fear. And so what's going to happen to that space? Darker, heavier, more resistance. Let's give another example or another possibility. Customer quits, they return their products, associate quits, they say it's not for them. What might love look like? How unfortunate for them. I hope they find what they're looking for. I hope they know that I did everything I could. And then if they ever want to come back, I'll be here for them. But man, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that at least they gave it a shot. They didn't do it as much as they could have, maybe. But hey, if it's not right for them, that's okay. But what I also know is now that they're gone, space has been created. Space has been created for me to attract in partners who are committed, customers who want to use the products consistently, partners who want to work as hard as I want to work. You see the difference? I spilled my coffee, big deal. Go pour another cup. I spilled my coffee, big deal, but go pour another cup. I banged my knee on the bed, big deal, put some ice on it. You're still alive, you're still moving, you're still breathing, you still have a business, you have a cash flow producing asset that you're working on. So in a time of crisis right now, when there's so much uncertainty in the world, and 99% of the population is operating from a space of fear, do you guys see why it's so crucial that you come from love? Do you guys see why now more than ever, if ever there was a time for you to build the muscle of being responsive instead of reactive, if ever there was a time for you just to pause and observe an experience that someone's having and just evaluate how you're reacting or responding and asking, am I cultivating love or am I cultivating fear? Check yourself. Because when you slow down and you're willing to go inside, when you're willing to go inside, when you're willing to slow down, and you're willing to ask yourself a question like, what would love choose right now? How would love show up right now? And then you respond from there. You'll create exponential growth like in ways you couldn't imagine. Now, some of you might be listening to me talk about this going, love, fear, what does that have to do with business? Blah, 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 blah. It's everything to do with it. It's everything to do with it. It's everything. The biggest lie we get told is that it's just business, it's not personal. Business is personal. Business is one of the most personal things we do. Why? Because our business is what contributes to our personal life. So there's not just room for love in business. That's all there is. Right now, you're seeing a lot of politicians getting crushed in the media, celebrities getting crushed in the media, right? Lots of things happening in the media. Why? Because people are scared, fearful. And when people are fearful, we're irrational. We're crazy. Humans are crazy when we operate from fear. How many of you know that? How many of you know in your own life when you're coming from a space of fear, you act like a crazy person? I know I do. I know I absolutely do. When I'm reactive, I have to stop and go, whoa, psychopath. Whoa, crazy. There's no room for that right now. Because I'm human, but I stop and I pause and I ask, what would love choose right now? So if you're having some resistance from partners, whether in the business, romantically, whatever, stop and ask yourself the question, what would love choose right now? If you have team members that are stuck and they're in shock and they're not moving forward, just ask, what would love choose right now? And then practice real empathy. Do you guys know what real empathy is? Real empathy is being willing to put yourself in somebody else's shoes and try to identify how they might be feeling in any given moment. And if you're willing to do that, then guess what happens? Then you really stop and go, oh, crap. Okay. I can appreciate why they're not responding to my text messages. I get why they maybe don't want to do Isagenix right now. If I had somebody show up in my life in this moment, the way I'm showing up in theirs, I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to move forward. Is this helpful? Just type in the chat box, guys. Are we going well here? Okay. One of the ways that you all have an amazing opportunity, because Isagenix is brand new in Europe. 3 years in the UK, 2 years in Netherlands, a year and a half in Spain and Belgium. I think those numbers were, maybe I'm wrong. Either way, it's under 3 years. That's nothing. 3 years is nothing. Nobody knows who we are. But they think they know who network marketers are. But it's still so new out there. And what if you're the people? What if you're the people that raise the bar, that say, this is how business is done in this country. This is how business is done in this part of the world. This is what network marketing is really all about. This is what Isagenix is really all about. It's about community. It's about consciousness. It's about creativity. It's about collaboration. But more than anything, it's a business model that's rooted in service and love. See, when you're suffering, when you're in anxiety, when you're experiencing pain around this business, I promise you, it's because you're being selfish in your desires. Now, it's hard to not want to be selfish when you're not sure how you're going to pay your electric bill. I get that. But how can you? How can you find a way to take that lump of coal? How can you take that and create alchemy, turn it into gold? How can you take your personal challenges right now and express them in a new way so that other people can see through their own darkness, through the reflection of your light? And make no mistake that everybody in your life, everybody on this Zoom call, all the people you can see, everyone's a reflection for each other. Did you know that? Did you know that right now, that when you're staring at me, you're staring at you? You know that? It's a crazy concept. And for those of you guys that are just new to the world of personal development, let me help you understand something. We're all just energy. And that's science. That's not weird spiritualist stuff. It's just science. We're all energy. That means my energy is your energy is my energy. And all that you're seeing when you look at me is just a reflection of you. And so what do you see in that reflection? You either see parts of yourself that you are unwilling to take ownership of, or you see parts of yourself that you deny, or you see parts of yourself and then you judge yourself and say, I could never do what Mikey's doing. I could never do what Emma's doing. I could never do what Judy's doing. I could never do what Dominique's doing. When in reality, all we're doing is showing you exactly who you are and what you're capable of. We're just holding up the mirror. We're just showing you a reflection of what's possible. And then when you see other people that are acting in a way that you don't like, and it bothers you and it angers you and you're reacting, guess what you're also seeing? A reflection of the parts you don't like about yourself. What I do not like in others, I do not like in myself. Think about the power of that. So when you're reacting or you're being negative or you bump your knee against the bed and you get angry at the kid or you get angry at the partner and you see them acting up, take a step back and go, wait a minute, what is this about me that I'm seeing right now? See, when you show up in that way, with responsible leadership, with being accountable for how you're showing up in the world, your influence will grow in ways you cannot imagine. And how do I know this? Type in the chat box. How do I know that this is for real? How do I know? How do I know? How do I know that this can change everything for you? Because that's my life. And I'm one of hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people who committed to understanding just a new way of being. I spent my entire career so long making it about me. I wanted the awards. I wanted the recognition. I wanted the validation. Look at me, look at me, look at me. Make it about me, make it about me, make it about me. And guess what? The more I focused on me, the less I had. The more frustration, the more anger, the more resentment, the more emptiness. And then I had mentors in my life, people speak into me, like I'm speaking into you. And hopefully you're finding as much value in this as I did from them. And if you're not, that's okay too. But I asked myself the question of, okay, well, if how I've been showing up hasn't been working and I don't like the way I feel, what might change if I actually operate from a place of service? What might change if I take responsibility for my own life? What might change if I start focusing outward? What might change if I actually exercise empathy and compassion? What might change if I come from a place of love? And everything did. Everything changed. Everything changed. Because what changed the most was the illusion of who I thought I needed to be and the acceptance of who I am. And when you do that, when you let go of who you think you're supposed to be, who your parents think you're supposed to be, your teachers think you're supposed to be, the story you tell yourself about how you're supposed to show up, when you let go of that and you just take ownership of who you are, people come from everywhere. And why? Because your energetic frequency. You're in love with yourself in an authentic way. People come to you. You sit in a place of hating on yourself and resenting yourself and being reactive and everything else is everybody else's fault and this, that, and the other, and you play the blame game. Guess what? You push people away. It's very simple. Operate from fear. You'll push people away. Now, at the same time, you'll attract people, but guess what kind of people? Negative, dark, clouded, toxic people. But all you're doing is telling the universe or source or God, whatever it is for you, what you want. If you're okay being negative with yourself, you're okay with having negative people in your life. Think about that for a moment. In any given moment, you have the ability to change the magnet that you put out into the world. At any moment. What other animal can do that? What other animal has the power to do that? That's our greatest gift. I think Sigrid posted one time after I said it, right? You have choice. That's your power. Everybody asks, like, if you had a superhero power, what would it be? You all have it. Choice. In any given moment, you decide who you want to be. And I know that you guys hear me talk about this over and over and over again. But why do I talk about it over and over and over again? Because it's hands down by far the most important thing you can ever learn about yourself. It's not about the websites. It's not about the webinars. It's not about the funnels. It's not about the campaigns. It doesn't matter if people get started on a 30-day or an 11-day or this, that, but none of that's, all that's irrelevant. People join people. People join people. So you get to decide. And all of you are doing it. So many of you are doing it. To make that tiny little shift. But that small shift is the biggest shift you'll ever make in your entire life. Does it take work? Yeah. You got to go to work every day. Every day. You know, you see people, it's as difficult as you say it is. It's as difficult as you say it is, right? So I don't know if that was Arnaud who wrote it, but maybe it was, right? That's like me coming to the gym, right? And saying, it's difficult. Yeah, of course it's difficult. You want my results? You want my body? Put in the work. Is it difficult though? No, because here's what happens. Type in the chat box, how many of you had this experience when it comes to your body transformation? How many of you have noticed that the further you get along, hard workouts go from feeling hard and difficult to feeling good and fun? How many of you have ever had that experience? Right? Mikey, you probably see with your athletes all the time, right? They first come in, oh man, that's really hard. 3 weeks in, a month in, 6 weeks in. Was it challenging? Yes. But man, did that feel good. Man, did that feel good. And it was fun. So the inner work, the same. So what we're looking at might not look great on paper. But what's on the other side of it? Incredibly fun. Wonderful. Wonderful. So the next time a negative emotion comes up, a reaction comes up, don't get mad at yourself. Don't get angry at yourself. Just look at it and go, all right. Challenging workout today. Fun times. Fun times. How fascinating. How interesting. I thought I'd already worked on that. Apparently not. Apparently there's more. I thought my shoulders were looking good. Couple more reps. Couple more reps. It's always just a couple more reps. A couple more reps. And we lift, and we lift, and we lift, and we lift. And when we're done lifting, we lift some more. And why do we lift? Because every time that we step up and we lift, we let other people know that they can lift too. And that's what this is about. You go first. You go first so that other people in your community, your country, you go first. You lift the heavy weights. You demonstrate it. You don't prove it to prove people wrong. You prove them right. Because inside of them, there's some tiny little reflection that looks at you and says, well, what about me? What if? If someone like her can do it, then maybe someone like me can do it. So going back to the beginning, love, fear. That's it. Slow down. Check in with yourself. Am I being responsive or am I being reactive? Just slow down. Because when you slow down, life speeds up. That's the irony. When you slow down and you're not being irrational and you're not on the crazy roller coaster and you're not criticizing yourself because one day, one week you had good cycles, the next week you had bad cycles, blah, 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 blah. When you don't live in that state of fight or flight, when you're not frantic, you just slow down. Then you see things in a whole new way. And when you see things in a whole new way, you have clarity. And when you have clarity, you make healthy choices. And one healthy choice leads to another healthy choice, leads to another healthy choice. And that's how you build influence. I had a call with Jill today. We talked for a little bit. Jill enrolled 7 people this week. 7. He said, Zach, I don't understand. He said, now all of a sudden they're all coming to me. Why? Because when he first started, they didn't believe him. They didn't believe he'll keep going. They didn't believe he was serious. They judged him. It happens. But now, his influence is growing. Why? Because he keeps showing up. Because he keeps showing up. So they're looking at him going, oh, wow. Oh, wow. Did it happen right away for him? No. Is it starting to happen now? Yes, but why? Because his network's looking at him going, wow, that's not Gilles the dock worker anymore. That's not, no, there's something different. He talks different. He's thinking differently. He looks different, obviously. Okay. Maybe a guy like me can do this because Jill showed me. That's how influence gets created. Influence gets created by consistently giving yourself healthy choices, by consistently coming from a place of love, by consistently being responsive versus reactive. That is how you grow influence in ways, I love you, everybody, you cannot imagine. And that's when life gets easy. That's when life gets so much easier because you're just with it and you're a part of the natural flow. When you resist, and you push against, you'll suffer. But when you just allow yourself to receive and you allow yourself to be calm and you allow yourself to look through a lens of gratitude and optimism while still working, because you can't just close your eyes and wish it to happen. But when you root in a specific energy, the floodgates open and you will experience an abundance like you've never experienced before. So we've gone 2 minutes over. I hope you know how proud of you Eden and I are. You are pioneers. You're leading the way. You're making a huge difference in this company, every single one of you. All I do is get text messages from Kathy Coover, Eric Coover, Jim Coover, Sharon Walsh. Guys, the UK, the Europeans, Zach, what are they doing? It's unbelievable. We're so proud of you. Everyone's so proud of you. What might happen? What might happen for you if you saw in you what we all see in you? Love you. Dankjewel. Bye.